And good evening and welcome to another edition of the Ralph's Opinion Show. My name is Ralph Williams. I am your ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ralph Williams. I am the host of the Ralph's Opinion Show. All right. What do you want to talk about? Yeah, let me talk to you. All right. We got a lot to talk about tonight, as we always do here on the Ralph's Opinion Show. Comments are welcome. We are live on my YouTube channel, also my Facebook pages, and we're live on my Twitter X and Kick Network. And also, starting next week, we are going to be live, or we are going to be on the radio station in Terrell, Texas, KFCE Radio, Tiger Nation Radio. We're going to be on Thursdays at 2 o'clock starting next week, which will be next Thursday, 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock on Thursdays starting next week. KFCE Radio, 95.5 FM, Tiger Nation welcomes Ralph's Opinion. And on the weekends, you will have multiple broadcasts of my sports shows and also multiple broadcasts of my Wrestle Talk show. So I just want to let everyone know I'm expanding to KFCE Radio down in Terrell, Texas. And I want to thank staff and management there for having me as well. Also, just to let everyone know that the WKHB stuff that was supposed to happen on next Monday, the 9th, is not going to happen. That has been pushed back at least 2 to 3 weeks. All right. The radio station says they are not prepared for me yet, and they are waiting for some things to go on. They have to draw my contract up, and there's some stuff going on. So, all the logistics of what it is to be in the radio business. And so as soon as I get the okay from 620 WKHB in Pittsburgh, you will know the Ralph Williams Show Monday at 2 o'clock every Monday afternoon. And then Friday, 3 p.m. will be the Sports Corner radio show with me, Ralph Williams, Smoking Jim Frazier, Claudia Rosano, and Luther Dupree. All right. Okay, I normally don't start off with this, but I want to get this out of the way tonight. And let's do this. Stupid never takes a vacation. All right. And here's what I mean by stupid never takes a vacation. Okay. Guy in North Carolina arrested after breaking into a Little Caesars Pizza and selling pizza. How in the world could you have been that stupid? I mean, I literally. All right, and that's a part of our segment tonight. Stupid never takes a vacation. I usually don't start with that, but you know what? I wanted to get that out of the way tonight because I thought that was quite silly to be doing that. And later on, we're going to have our Shame on You segment where I will point out something. Shame on you for what's been going on. So we'll see what's happening. So with that as well. Don't forget on Wednesdays as well from 3 to 4 p.m. the Ralph Williams Show on Philadelphia station 860 AM WWDB radio as well. And also as we're here tonight on Ralph's Opinion. All right. Hello, Gabri. All right. And then, yep, whatever. All right. Okay. Thank you for being part of the program. All right. Let's get started here. I'm not a Today Show fan. I only watch the Today Show when one of my favorite music artists are on there, or somebody that I really want to watch that's on the Today Show. All right. I don't get into CBS Mornings. I don't get into ABC's Good Morning America unless I have a band, unless there's a band or someone that's a performer or someone special is going to be on. I will tune in. Other than that, I don't tune into them at all. I lost respect for Savannah Guthrie when her and Matt Lauer back when Trump was running against Hillary Clinton. All right. And for president, and they kept disrespecting President Trump. And, at the time he was still Donald Trump. They wouldn't let him talk. They wouldn't let him say what he had to say. They kept interrupting him. They kept cutting him off. And I thought that was disrespectful. And I thought that Savannah Guthrie at the time and Matt Lauer both should have been fired Because in my opinion, you should let them talk. Let them say what they have to say. Don't continue to interrupt them in the middle. Let them finish their sentence. But they didn't do that. Okay. I lost respect for Savannah Guthrie. But with this case right now, this kidnapping of her mom, you know, whoever's doing this or right now and holding her for ransom or whatever it is that's going on, there's a lot of rumors out there. And, the internet paints this stuff as, well, here we are with this. Yeah, exactly. Okay. And that's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what happens. Okay. So my opinion on this is, and this is my scenario, this is me painting this now. It's either got to be somebody that is on drugs, somebody was looking for money, and she didn't want to pay him or whatever it was, okay? Or it's just somebody who's just crazy and nuts out there that's looking to kidnap Savannah Guthrie's mom just to get some attention. All right. I mean, I know people who steal someone's cat or someone's luggage or whatever, steal something just to get some sort of attention. And that's exactly what happens with something like this. All right, it's got to be somebody that's either mentally insane, somebody who's a junkie, or somebody who maybe it was somebody in the family who asked her for money and they needed it for drugs or they needed it for whatever. And Savannah Guthrie's mother didn't give any money out. It could just be a random thing. All right. I'm just painting a scenario here because right now, and law enforcement telling everybody they don't have a suspect. They have nobody in custody. They have nobody to question. Nobody knows anything. All right. So what I want to know is law enforcement lying to everybody, to the media, that maybe perhaps they're doing this because of the family. And now, because of this boob or whoever has this Savannah Guthrie's mother, okay, probably sitting there saying, well, this is now we got the idiots out here on social media that are going on and on about what's going on, telling lies, saying it was this person, it's that person, and whatever. We all know about what goes on social media, do we not? Yes, we do. Okay. But I feel bad, and my prayers are out for Savannah Guthrie. As much again, when it comes to somebody's mother, I can't sit here and be and act like this. Like I said, I have no respect for Savannah Guthrie as a person because of what she pulled that time. Should have been fired. Bottom line, wouldn't let the man finish his sentence, just kept cutting him off. And I know there's a certain time frame in these debates, but I'm talking about like he had just started talking and they just kept interrupting him. Wouldn't even, well, not the debates more or less, but even in the interviews. Okay. All right. And I'm not happy with NBC and I'm not happy with the Today Show because they screwed over wrestler John Cena. John Cena was filling in whenever they needed him on the Today Show, Saturday Night Live, that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden, they go and they hire the guy that's on there now and screw John Cena when they promised John Cena that he was going to get that job when Matt Lauer stepped away or whatever. But of course, Matt Lauer was fired. All right. For what was pulled on him or what he did. Okay. All right. So, those of you out there, and again, my prayers are out there for the family of Savannah Guthrie and prayers for her. All right. Because to me, whoever's doing this, it's unacceptable. How would you like it if I kidnapped your mother? Okay. This is somebody's mother, somebody's grandma, somebody's, why would you even consider even doing that? All right. Okay. I'll tell you a little story here. I had an ex-girlfriend who disrespected my mother, her and her daughter. And what had happened was I went to her mother and I said, "Do you know your daughter disrespected my mother?" Well, of course, she raised Cain about how it didn't happen here, so she couldn't have done anything about it. It didn't happen in her presence and that kind of thing, which means she was calling me a liar. All right. But not one time, as much as I wanted to, I was always taught never to disrespect somebody's mother. And now, and as much as her and I had arguments, and I wanted to really disrespect her, my ex girlfriend's mother, I could have, but I didn't, because you know why? I was taught not to. That's somebody's mother, somebody's grandma. All right. Savannah Guthrie's not sleeping at night, and I don't blame her. It's her mother. But why? Why in the world would anyone want to harm somebody's mother like that? Okay. All right. I mean, to me, that's just, you know, I'm not gonna answer that question. But I thank you for your comments, though. But I'm not gonna answer that question. All right. So, who did it? What's your thoughts on this? Is it a junkie? Is it somebody who wanted money? Is it somebody that worked for this lady? Is it the Uber driver, a cab driver? Or is it somebody who is it? What is it? What are your thoughts on Savannah Guthrie's mother getting kidnapped for ransom? Okay. Yeah, whatever. All right. I'm not going to answer those questions because you know why? I'm going to do this. That's exactly what I'm going to do. Okay. There we go. That's exactly it. All right. I just love it when people try to spoil the broth in my soup, when I'm trying to do the show. And people ask me stupid questions like this. What am I talking about? I'm talking about Savannah Guthrie's mother. That's what I'm talking about. And there's probably some of you out there who probably don't even know who Savannah Guthrie is. Savannah Guthrie is, she's one of the hosts of the Today Show. And her mother has been kidnapped. Okay? Has been kidnapped. Okay? Interesting, isn't it? All right. Shame on you right now. And shame on the person who has Savannah Guthrie's mother. And we start off with Stupid Never Takes a Vacation, the North Carolina guy who decided to break into a Little Caesars and start selling pizza. All right. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they did. They kidnapped her mom. All right. That to me is unacceptable. And it should be to you too. That's somebody's mother. Somebody's mother. Shame on you for doing that. You want another shame on you? I'll tell you another one. Monday, I was out and about. I had to go to a doctor appointment. Stop at Walmart to get some stuff. Okay. And come out of Walmart. I park my van because I'm in a wheelchair. Park my van, has a ramp that deploys from the side. And I parked in the handicap spot, and here's the crosswalk thing with the little lines on it. Great. I said, good, I'm parked here. Nobody will bother. I can put my ramp out, everything else. I was wrong. Some knucklehead decided to park his car or his vehicle in the handicap parking spot next to me and put it halfway over the crosswalk. And guess what? I could not, and I say I could not move my vehicle or I couldn't get up my ramp. So naturally, I had to go and get a Walmart employee. That Walmart employee had to go inside and start paging to get somebody to come out and move their vehicle. Well, it turns out the guy was on the way out anyway. And it's cold, and I got my winter coat on, and I got my ski hat on, and I got to sit out there in the cold and wait for this boob. Okay. So shame on this guy for blocking my ramp in. And if you watch my Ralph report that I put out on YouTube, you will see what I was talking about. All right. We got a bunch of freaking knuckleheads in this country. People just have no consideration for handicap. They have no consideration for themselves. And I've said this many times on this program and many times all across the board. Nobody cares anymore. All right. I've talked about a lazy society and I've given evidence of that. All right. Okay. So please don't use foul language on here, please. All right. Somebody's on here making comments using foul language. Do not use foul language. All right. That's Ralph's opinion tonight. All right. Patrick Mahomes. Everybody knows who Patrick Mahomes is, right? He's the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs are a lucky organization. They're lucky because Travis Kelce dates or is engaged to be married to Taylor Swift. All right. Yeah. Well, all right. I accept your apology on that. Don't do that again, please. All right. And Taylor Swift has brought a lot of attention to the Kansas City Chiefs. There's a whole new audience of people out there. Well, it turns out Patrick Mahomes' father broke his parole. He's been involved in DUIs. He's been involved in all kinds of other activities. Well, this time he broke his parole. Got arrested again. Guess why? For DUI. Can't stay away from the liquor. All right. And that's, to me, that's a shame. I mean, you just simply you really don't do that stuff. All right. Patrick Mahomes' father in trouble again. Here we go. Isn't it interesting how football players and celebrities and their families, some of them just they go the wrong way? That's an interesting scenario because when you're famous like that, your family comes under a microscope just like you do. If I was really an actor, my family probably would come under a microscope. People would be looking at this and looking at that and saying about this and saying about that. All right. And this is it's an old story with Patrick Mahomes. All right. Excuse me. It is. It's an old story with Patrick Mahomes and his father. His father has broken his parole. And when you break your parole, you go to jail. All right, we got okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Okay. Really am. And if someone's giving away someone's land and no one's doing anything about it, something wrong with that picture. We are in a weak America. And, everybody sits there. They criticize President Trump. They get mad. They go on and on about how, he does this, he does that. And later on, we're going to do the good, the bad, and the ugly of President Trump. Okay. We'll get into more of that later because I want to intertwine everything into the good, the bad, and the ugly of President Trump. Now, Bahama Breeze. How about Bahama Breeze closing up 28 restaurants? Denny's. Last week, I think I mentioned Denny's was bought out in bankruptcy. They're now owned by another company. Okay. Popeyes has now filed for bankruptcy. All right. So, do we have a saturation of franchise restaurants that just can't make money because there's too many of them and nobody has the money to go eat at all of them? That's the way of the world right now. The malls are crowded. People do go to the malls to shop. I see that where I live here. Okay. Later on, we're going to talk a little bit about Ocean City, Maryland's government once again going after short-term rentals. They need to stop doing that. All right. Leave them alone. I don't want to hear no whining. You made the new ordinance. Now you want to make another ordinance, and then you want to fight for this, and then you're mad because the appeal or the petition that happened. We'll talk about that later too. All right. Eddie Bauer now is closing stores. Macy's is closing stores. Internet is killing Amazon. All those things. That's all killing everybody. Everybody's losing money now because of all that. All right. I don't shop in those places. I have no reason to shop there. I've lost a lot of weight, but I'm still somewhat of a big person to where I don't need to shop. I don't choose to shop there. Okay. So, wow. Billy Bass Nelson. I met this guy. I was involved in a band in Pittsburgh where I was the manager of a funk band. And I met Billy Bass. Nice guy. Passed away today. 74 years old. Played with the Funkadelics. Wow. That's crazy. Whoa. All right. Billy Bass. William Billy Bass Nelson. Wow. I had the privilege of meeting the man. He's a nice guy. A very nice man. A lot of these soul groups, the older the ones, the older soul bands like the Temptations, Frankie Beverly and Mays, the Whispers, what the heck's his name? The other one that was part of this thing when I used to do security. Nice people. Come up to you, shake hands, give you an autograph, take a picture. No stuck up, no nose up in the air, nothing like that. Very nice. Never had a complaint about any soul artist that I had ever met in my lifetime. Okay? It's Ralph's opinion tonight. Sad to hear about that, boy. Whoa. All right. That's craziness. All right. Pennsylvania is coming up with a cell phone law. And they want to raise minimum wage to $15 an hour. Now, I'm for raising minimum wage. 7.25 is unacceptable. And Pennsylvania and Virginia, I think, because they're Commonwealth states, have the lowest minimum wage in the entire country, other than Florida, because that's a right to work state. So they pay them whatever. All right. Or however that works. I don't know. Okay. But what I'm saying to you is that they have now they want to do, and that's fine. You can go ahead and do that. They want to raise minimum wage, but they want to raise it to $15 an hour. Governor Shapiro there, who once again wants to run for president. Now, don't forget that now. All right. I don't think he's going to make it. There's too many skeletons in his closet that I don't think, as good as he does as governor, there's a lot of things he does wrong that I don't think he'll make it as president. I really don't. That's just my opinion. Now, I could see if you raised it to $10 an hour or maybe 12, and then like every year raising another dollar and another dollar every 1 or 2 years or something to make that $15 an hour ceiling. But to just go ahead and jack it up straight up to $15 an hour right now, with businesses struggling and the economy the way it is, and people not really spending, because you see all these restaurants are all going out of business, filed for bankruptcy, more and more now than ever before. Okay. So, I mean, you got a lot of a lot of these folks do bankruptcy because it's restructuring. All right. Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, who is, I think he's he's a congressman, I believe. 83 years old. Okay. He's a Kentucky senator, 83 years old. Mitch McConnell's hospitalized. Okay. I thought Mitch McConnell retired, stepped away, hadn't seen him in a while. All right. He was always up there against anything that a Democrat person ever did. He would make comments all the time, but now you don't even see him. He's not around anymore. So but he's in the hospital, and prayers for him. All right. I don't wish that upon anybody either. But CC's Pizza's coming back. Remember them? CC's Pizza, the all-you-can-eat buffet, $5.99. They competed with Pizza Hut back when Pizza Hut had their lunch buffet. But the problem with CC's Pizza was they should have never opened up around Pizza Huts. Open up wherever Pizza Huts are nowhere to be found. But now Pizza Hut, I don't even think any Pizza Hut really has any of that stuff. Okay. All right, Vinny talking about indigenous land in Arizona and California, and that's sad that they're trying to take this land of these folks, and that's disgusting. I mean, to really do that, that's wrong. Pizza Hut now right here, Pizza Hut is closing 250 locations. Is everybody going to Domino's, or is everybody doing like I'm doing? You know what I do? I make my own pizza. You know why? Because like a lot of my friends used to say, I don't eat out because I don't like the quality of the food. I want to eat when I at least I know what I'm putting in my food. Okay? If you go out and you buy frozen food, you know you're putting frozen food in your body. Where you don't have to go to a restaurant, pay all that money, and you find out the food is nasty. Okay? But anyway, wow. That's crazy too. To see right there, I just told you more and more restaurants. Bahama Breeze, okay, is found for bankruptcy. They're closing 28 restaurants, including one I know in Pittsburgh that they're closing, which is my former hometown. Lived there my whole life practically. Love where I live now, though. All right, let's see what we have here. You know, I wish President Trump would, and this is we'll do the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up in a few moments, and we're gonna wrap it up here real soon. I'll be on tonight at 9 o'clock on Steel City Sports World with Luther Dupree, Claudia Rosano, and Smoking Jim Frazier, Fillmore, Big Rome. I'll be on tonight. We'll be talking about the new coaching hires of Mike McCarthy of the Pittsburgh Steelers' new head coach. All right. Okay, here. I got something for you real quick. Here's a good one. All right. John Rich. You know who John Rich is? John Rich is part of the band Big and Rich. Now, if you ever saw any of the videos of Big and Rich, or if you ever been to any of their shows, Big Kenny wears this big looking, magician's looking clown hat. Okay. His name's Big Kenny. John Rich is the guy with the black cowboy hat, the little shorter guy. Well, John Rich lives in Nashville, and now for a week and a half now he's had no power. And here's an interesting thing here that really bothers me about this whole problem here. Nashville just raised the county there, whatever the county's name is, just raised their taxes 40%. But you have no power. No power, but you raise taxes 40%. Okay? No power. For a week and a half. No power. The cleanup has been very sparse. And what's funny about all this is this Arctic blast of weather is coming through the people. All right. All right. Robert here says, and he said they're big in Florida. Well, that's because they have that Bahama type theme that fits Florida. Yeah. But thank you, Robert, for your comments. And these folks about this indigenous stuff, I got you as well. That's unacceptable. If they're taking your land and nobody's doing anything about it, then vote the politician out that's not. All right? I've said that many times on this show. But John Rich, part of the band Big and Rich, and his family have had no power for a week and a half. But he got power now because he went out and got a generator or has a generator or whatever. But there are other people who have no power because they can't afford a generator. Okay? I'm getting one for my house here. We had a power outage here for about 20 minutes about 4 nights ago. Okay? That's why I'm getting a generator for my house. That's why I advise you to get a generator. I mean, even if you go to Harbor Freight and get one of them little weenie ones about that big, yeah, that'll help you for a little while. But if you can afford it, get a Generac or one of those, or Kohler or one of those kind of things. Excuse me. All right. Get one of those because this Arctic storm's not going away. Groundhog, Punxsutawney Phil, laid an egg and seen his shadow. So he says we have 6 more weeks of winter. I hope that's not the case. And there's a lot of times where Phil was wrong. And I hope this time is the time that he's really wrong. Because I'm getting tired of it already. This kind of weather bothers my arthritis, and it bothers, my mom and my wife. It bothers all of us because we all have arthritis. And, when this Arctic cold comes through, that's why one of the reasons we moved here to the coast, because we didn't expect this kind of stuff to become rolling through here. Okay? They broke some records in the last year. Here in, I live in Berlin, Maryland, right outside Ocean City. All right, here we go here. Somebody said they got hit by a, what was it? Black Widow? Oh, the other day. All right. How about these states that aren't enforcing this ice on trucks? Somebody in Pennsylvania was riding along a highway, and a truck had snow all over the top of it and ice and everything. And one of the ice pieces came off, flew, went through somebody's window, and almost hit someone's kid. That's how bad it was. Okay. All right. State police in Pennsylvania say they don't have enough to enforce that. That's a shame. Nobody wants to be a police officer anymore. And ICE now has to remove their masks. They're not allowed to, you have to remove your mask. You have to tell the government you're coming. And, I feel bad for anyone that's an ICE agent now, because you got people protesting out there, throwing stuff, blocking people up with cars, doing stupid crap. Happens all the time. I don't know why, but it just seems that way. All right. It's sad but true. So I don't know what it is with this country with ICE. These cities don't want ICE in their town. And something happened in Oakmont, PA, which I'll be talking about this weekend on my the Ralph Williams show on 1250 AM, The Answer 92.5 on the FM dial. All right. I'll come up. I have the announcements coming up at the end of the show. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of President Trump. Now, the good, okay. I guess you could say it's good. He's taking the immigration people out of Minnesota to please Tim Wall, the governor, and all these other people who have protested and causing problems and making life miserable for everybody else. Okay? Because you don't want to follow the law. Because you want criminals in your community. You want illegals to just walk into your community, open up a business, steal people's SNAP benefits, which happen up in Pittsburgh and some other places. Okay? But if I break the law, I go to jail. But it's all right for someone to come into my country, to come into your country, and violate the law. With it's one thing if you're an immigrant. It's one thing with immigration. If you are illegal, that's one thing. But when you're illegal and you cause problems, that's another. That's another story. Okay. And no one really wants to deal with that. And everybody has a problem with that. And everybody's protesting now. I'll say this once, I'll say it again. Get a life. Get a job. Go find something to do. Quit messing with ICE. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get arrested. You're going to go to jail. You're going to be brought up on federal charges. And then what are you going to do? Hope you have a lawyer who can, yeah. All right. It's Ralph's opinion tonight. We're going to talk about one more thing, and then we'll get into back into Trump here, because I forgot about this. How about this guy? And this guy's a money grabber. And a bad example for people who are money grabbers trying to go after athletes. This guy, this Detroit Lions fan who is suing the NFL, DK Metcalf, Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver. He's suing the Detroit Lions. He's suing the janitor. He's suing the popcorn vendor. He's suing all these people for this, this lawsuit worth $100 million. Okay. He claims DK Metcalf harmed him. Well, first of all, you moron. Okay. Why in the world would you even consider putting your hands on an athlete? And people that buy these tickets think that they're entitled to just go up to an athlete and say something. Whether it's irresponsible, ridiculous, whatever it is. All right. Just go to the game, watch the game, drink your beer, get drunk and sloshed, and whatever it is you do with these football games. But leave the athletes alone. All right. But this guy, he's trying to sue for $100 million. And guess what? He's getting nothing because he has no case. This judge will throw this out in 5 minutes. Okay. Well, if this athlete hits you, then what did you do to say to make him do that? Let's go, for instance, you have two kids in your family. You have a son and a daughter. Daughter keeps running and you going, yeah, well, little Johnny's picking on me. Okay. Well, why is little Johnny picking on you? Because you're picking on him. You see? So if you don't want, don't agitate the bull, because if you do, you'll get the horns. And the fact of the matter is, you agitate an athlete or you put your hands on an athlete has the right to fight back. It's called self-defense. And this guy, he's been to Seattle games harassing DK Metcalf. See, this is the type of guy who has to go out and get a life and quit messing around looking for $100 million lawsuit, which you will not get. I don't think you'll get anywhere close to that. Okay? That's out there doing this kind of stuff, talking about people, agitating athletes and coaches and everything else, just so that way they can, he could try to go out and get some money and squeeze money out of somebody. All right. That's Ralph's opinion tonight. Let's get into the good, the bad, and the ugly of President Trump. We're going to wrap it up. I have a few announcements. I already gave you the good. He's pulling out those ICE or those immigration folks, close to, I think, 400 or something, 700, pulling them out of Minnesota. The bad right now is we could be going to war with Iran. Iran, once again, doesn't know when to stop. They don't learn their lesson. They had a drone or a aircraft or something that came close to one of our ships, and we had to shoot it down. All right. Now, let me tell you this much. If there was a drone that flew over my house, all right, or flew up in deep up into the sky and it looked like one of them spy balloons, I'd shoot it down. But it took President Joe Biden so long to do that. Trump would have shot it down in a second. So President Trump went and he ordered, the Chinese government or whatever to get out. And, I had some friends that were there at the time it happened. They told me about it. And, it's crazy. You travel all across the country, and then you have to deal with this kind of stuff. All right. Let's get into finally the good, the bad, and the ugly of Trump. But anyway, Iran, that's bad. The good is he's getting the ICE agents out of Minnesota and getting them out of harm's way. Okay, which I think he shouldn't do that because Tim Wall doesn't deserve it. He's been nothing but a jerk. Okay. Hakeem Jeffries is another one. They tied up the government again. That's ugly. When these Democrats continue to tie up the country and they have no clue and no idea, and guess what? They won a war. You know why they won a war? Well, I won the war with these people, and their clothes that they bought at Goodwill or something. All right. But that's the ugly part of it all. The good, the bad, and the ugly of President Trump tonight. Thank you. All right, that's Ralph's opinion tonight. Let's get into our announcements here. And I have a few. All right. So let's take a look at this here. Here we are. This is this weekend. All right. I want to thank Brandon Keeler and Sports Nuts for letting us put our sports programming. They're on right now. So if you're interested in some sports, turn over to the Sports Nuts Network and Brandon Keeler and the gang. They have a lot to talk about. Don't forget as well, my Philly show every single Wednesday. Here we are. Was this afternoon. Here we go. All right. Okay. Now, this weekend, and it's the triple header Ralph Williams Saturday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Ralph Williams Show. And everything that I talked about that's supposed to be on AM 620 has been delayed at least 2 weeks. Could even be 3. But we're eventually going to be on the air Mondays 1 to 2. on the Ralph Williams Show on AM 620 WKHB in Pittsburgh. And then also on Friday, 3 o'clock p.m., the Sports Corner radio show, and Saturday, 2 to 3 p.m. on the Answer 92.5 on the FM dial. And that is the Sports Corner show and also the Ralph Williams Show. All right. All right. Trying to get there. There it is. Okay. 2 to 3 p.m. every Saturday. All right. All right. Okay, that's all the announcements I have. That's all I have for tonight. Don't forget, 9 o'clock, I'll be on with Steel City Sports World and Luther Dupree, Claudia Rosano, Smoking Jim Frazier, Rowe, Big Rowe, and also with Fillmore. So until next week, next Wednesday, 7th. Don't forget, next week, Thursdays, 1 o'clock p.m., the Ralph's Opinion Show on KFCE Radio in Terrell, Texas. It's called TigerNation.com radio. There it is. Okay, I will be on with the Ralph's Opinion Show. And then also on the weekends, I will be on with my wrestling show. Wrestle Talk is also on there. The Sports Corner Show and the Saturday Sports Show are also on that station, as well as several others. So just to let you know what's going on with that. Keep your posted on our Facebook page, YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. Help me out here. $3.90. I need 110 to get to 500. And that'll be, or I'm sorry. I need 10 to get from 390 to 400, which will give me 2,400 total. I'm at 2390 right now. I need 10 to make it 2,400 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And don't forget about my Twitch, my Twitter X account, and a lot more. All right. So don't forget that. And we'll figure out anything else that we forgot here. Getting ready for spring training football. All right. All right. Now let's get started. Before we got kind of interrupted here. But anyway, here we go. If we can get the audio going, which I doubt it. Nope. Not getting the audio going. Oh, well. All right. Until next time, have yourself a great one. Please, by all means, be safe. Till next week, have a good one. Thank you.